Hello guys and welcome to the first episode of our brand new career mode here on EAFC 24 and our final project of the game cycle, where we will be returning to the Premier League with Crystal Palace. I'm sure many Palace fans will agree that right now is one of the most exciting times to be a Crystal Palace supporter after a really exciting end to the Premier League season. With Oliver Glasner at the helm and the team playing bright attacking football, there is lots to look forward to at Selhurst Park next season. And yes, they've got some real talent in this Crystal Palace squad. Had a fantastic end to the season, as I mentioned. And as we run through the squad here, you'll see the fantastic talent that is already in this Palace side, with Mark Guehi, Tyrick Mitchell in defence, the likes of Adam Wharton through the heart of midfield, and Eberechi Eze in attack. Yes, they may have lost their star man Michael Elise to Bayern Munich, which of course will sting for the Palace fans, but I do still feel there are very exciting times ahead under the Austrian Glasner. Now in this save, I'm going to try and do things a little bit more realistically than we did in our previous career mode with Girona, predominantly in the transfer market. In the first season, I'm going to be keeping the band together, but from season 2 onward, I'm expecting big bids from our young stars, the likes of Wharton, Guehi, Elise, Eze, and in regards to incomings, Palace have a great history of bringing in young talents from the Championship, such as Eze, Elise and Wharton over recent years. And in this first season, I will be looking to some more young talents in the second tier, keeping with the tradition of signing those youngsters from the second division. However, we are going to be limiting ourselves to 2 signings and 2 sales in this first window to keep things realistic, as well. I want to try and stick to last season's Premier League campaign. In this save, I'm also going to be looking to use the youth system quite heavily to develop our own young talents. So we'll be looking to send out our youth scouts as soon as possible. I always like to keep 1 scout in the nation we're based in, so we'll send our first scout out to England looking for those South London young talents. Staying close to home, we'll also send our second scout out in the United Kingdom, and with a big connection to Scotland with current sporting director Dougie Freedman hailing from the north, we'll also be looking for some young Scottish talents. And finally, we'll be sending one of our scouts abroad with Crystal Palace's large scouting budget, and with 2 players already in the first team squad from Colombia, we'll be looking for some South American talent to join up with Jefferson Lerma and Daniel Munoz. So now then guys, those scouts that we've sent out have tanked our budget a little bit. We've got 34 million left, which is fine because I'm not really planning on spending it all in this first season anyway. I guess what we need to do is decide who we're going to let go. Obviously, we've only got 2 departures that I'm allowing myself this season. I think one of those is going to be Nathan Ferguson. He's only got a year left on his deal, 22 years of age now. I was quite a big fan of his as a kid when he was at West Brom, but we've got better defenders here, and I'm looking to bring another centre-back in. But other than that, I kind of want to keep the team quite similar. You know, we've got the likes of Jeff Schlupp, who's now 30, Jordan Ayew's 31, but they are key parts of the Palace team. So I don't really want to let them go. I think I might actually make my second departure another loan. We've got quite a few of our youngsters already out on loan, but I think Ahamada, I'm going to add him to the loan list because I quite like the look of Mateus França and also Raksaki as well. So I want to kind of keep those 2 and have them as potential players that come off the bench this year. I want to give them some first team football whilst we're not in Europe. So I think for Ahamada, with players in those positions, I might try and loan him because we've got so many central midfielders in this team. I don't really see where he's going to play. And as we see that our scouting setups have been confirmed, let's get rid of the youth players that are already in the academy because I don't want them. They're always pretty average, and I'd rather just find my own. As for the board vision, let's see what they want this year. Youth development, brand exposure, get a streak of 5 games without defeat. That might actually be quite difficult this season. The main one's the league. They just want to finish mid-table, which is basically my objective as well. if we can try and push and get into Europe this year, then I do think with some of the attacking talent we've got, this team is good enough. But for me, finishing mid-table would be absolutely fine. As advised, I am expecting some bids from some of our players, as Hellas Verona want to send us Thomas Suslov. We just used him in our last save with Girona, but definitely not Chris Richards. I want to keep him. And Jeff Schlupp as well is a decent squad player. As I've already said, I know the players that I want to get rid of in this window. I know the players that I want to keep. But from next season onwards, I am not going to stand in players' ways if big bids come in from big clubs in Europe. So for this season at least, I want to keep them, as Ahamada is wanted by Fulham. Not sure how much football he's going to get there. I'd rather loan him out to the Championship or abroad, so I'm going to be quite selective. As for Nathan Ferguson, again, would rather try and keep him in England as I can, so I'm being quite picky here. Another bid from the Premier League for Ahamada, this time from Bournemouth, but again, I'm going to turn that down. I'd rather get him to the Championship, and as I say, I do feel that we can be quite selective, as AS Monaco now want to take him. A bid for Tyrick Mitchell as well, but that is going to be turned down. Come on, I want to get Ahamada out to the Championship, not the Champions League. Well, there's a bid for Nathan Ferguson from the Championship. Cardiff City, not even going to negotiate for any extra money. 960 grand is fine. Another loan bid from abroad for Ahamada, but again, we're getting the bids come in, but I just want one from the Championship. We've just had one for Nathan Ferguson from the Championship, so that's fine. I don't care about that. Cosenza want to take another of our youngsters on loan. Is it cheating if I let another player go out on loan? Do you know what? I'm going to delegate that. We'll let him go out on... Oh, he's only got a year left. All right, we'll let him go out on a one-year loan. So I'm not going to count these extra loans. I'm not going to start getting rid of everyone. But a 19-year-old who's not going to play much, I'm bending my own rules to let him go out on loan. And here we see Nathan Ferguson has decided to drop back down to the Championship. He is heading to Wales to play for Cardiff. Yeah, as I said earlier, I like this man. As a young kid coming through at West Brom, I really liked him, but he's never really lived up to the expectation. I think he's actually been released by Palace in real life. So, yeah, happy to let him go back down to the Championship, and we will negotiate this loan for Matherin. Just had all my scouting reports back from the players on the transfer list as well. They've all come through on the same day. So, yeah, I'm taking my time on this because I don't really know yet who I want to bring in. But, yeah, we've had our scouting reports back, and obviously only 2 players can come in. I'm not too sure at the moment who I want to bring in. I would love to bring in Jack Clark, but again, I'm not sure how much football he is going to get at the moment. Yes, yeah, so some options to consider here from the second tier. Another bid for Ahamada here, but I actually quite like this one. PSV want to take the young Frenchman, and PSV do have a bit of a history for developing young players. So although I said I'd rather sort of keep him in the English Football League, he is decent. He's nearly 70 overall, so yeah, I don't mind that one going to PSV there. We've seen the loan deal here for Matherin go through, so the young winger heading out to Cosenza. Whenever I loan players to Cosenza, they always seem to develop really nicely, so we'll send him out to the Serie B for a few years. We've had a bid from Bologna for Sam Johnston, but he's a very solid backup keeper in the Premier League, so Sam is going nowhere, and he's got a fantastic name. Also a bid here for Nathaniel Klein, but at least for this first season, I'm going to keep Klein here. He played quite a lot of football towards the end of the season for Palace in real life as a right centre-back. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to keep him here at least for this first season. And it does look as if Ahamada will be heading out to PSV for 2 years. So, yeah, I quite like that one. Oh, big bid here from Manchester United for Michael Elise, offering Garnacho plus cash. But as I say, for this first season, I want to keep the band together. But from season 2 onwards, I'm not going to stand in players' way. If a big bid from a team like Manchester United came in for one of my players, I would negotiate and sell. For Elise, I'd like to try and get him to Bayern Munich because we know that's where he's going in real life. Whether I'm going to be able to get him there in the save, I'm not too sure. But as I say, for this first season, we're going to be playing it as if it was last year in the Premier League. So Michael Elise is going to stay here. But one man who is departing is Ahamada, out to PSV for 2 years on loan. I really like that one. Yeah, I mean, Elise's such a good young talent, but I want to use him for at least this first season, so we're going to keep him here for now. One thing to note is we've got quite a few players with their deals up at the end of the season. I think for a lot of the older players, the guys at the top here, Riedvald I think was let go on a free, and again I'll probably just let him depart on a free. I could sell him for a bit of cash, but I'll see how I get on with him this season. Klein I think may have been offered an extension in real life, but again we'll see how we get on with him this season. And for Matthews and Tompkins, I'll probably just let them walk at the end of the season. For Ozo, Rodney and Raymond, because they're under, I think, is it 23 the cap? They won't be able to be poached by any clubs in the in the winter transfer window in January. So I can let their contracts run down until the last day of June and then sign them on the final day. So yeah, especially David Ozo. I like the look of this young man. So yeah, I won't extend the contracts just yet, but there's every chance these three get extensions at the end of the season. And speaking of contracts, what I'm actually going to do here to deter any interest over the next year or so from any big clubs, I'm going to offer Tyrick Mitchell a new contract. He's only got 2 years left on his deal, so we'll try and tie him down to a new contract. We'll give him a slight pay increase to 30 grand a week, at least for now, to try and deter other clubs from coming in for him. He wants a sign-on bonus, that's absolutely fine. So Tyrick Mitchell, don't need to with 2 years left on his deal, but we are going to offer him a new contract with a higher wage. More big bids coming in here. FC Twente won Odsonne Edouard, but I quite like him as a backup to Mateta. And we've had our first bid for Eberechi Eze. Lyon wanting to take the Englishman to France and offering us Ryan Cherki as well, who's a great young talent. But like with Elise, for this first season, I want to keep them here. If you come back next season, then maybe we'll strike up a deal, Lyon. So I think I want to make my first signing here, and I'm just looking at the team. At the moment, we've got Lerma dropped in at centre-back. I love Anderson and Gerhi. Chris Richards is a decent option, young American who can also play in midfield. But I do think potentially centre-back is an area we could improve on. We've got Rob Holding, who I don't really see being here in the long term, and James Tompkins, who's probably going to leave on a free at the end of the season. So although we've got some decent options, I would like to bring in a young defender potentially for the future. And out of the names on the shortlist, Lewis Binks is currently out on loan, so I wouldn't be able to bring him in anyway. I like Josh Eccles and Ben Sheaf as well. Both can drop in at centre-back. But Dan Ballard, for me, the Northern Irishman, 6'2", so he's a bit of a unit. And he's not the quickest, but he's not exactly slow. He's not Per Mertesacker. But you look at the other stats, the jumping, the strength, the aggression, the defending's good as well. And he's got that long pass trait as well. I think potentially as a backup to Anderson playing in the middle, he could be a fantastic pickup from the Black Cats for around market valuation. I'm going to bring Dan to Selhurst Park. I don't really need to worry too much here about money, but I am going to try and get him close to valuation. They want Rob Holding, which I'm not necessarily against, but I am going to keep him here for now. We'll go back in with 6.5 million. As I say, money isn't really a problem. So, yeah, Sunderland know they've got a great defender on their hands, and they agree to let him come to the Premier League for 6.5 million. So, Dan Ballard is in for just £6.5 million. It's a 5-year, 25 grand a week deal, and he's only taken a rotation squad status as well. So, he knows his place in this team. Yes, we've got some great central defenders already, but I could honestly see this guy working his way into the starting 11. We will try and get the pace and the stamina up, but I think as a central defender in our back three, he could be a fantastic option in the long run. Dan Ballard, welcome to Selhurst Park. Again, some more bids coming in. One for Riedvald, who we could sell now and get some cash for him, but I'd rather keep him here for the squad. Also, Will Hughes, bid from Heidenheim. I remember when Will Hughes came out of the Derby Academy and everyone thought he was just going to be like the next big thing, and he just never really lived up to it. He's still a decent player and he's carved out an okay career for himself in the Premier League with Watford and Crystal Palace as well, but yeah, he's never quite turned into the player that people thought he may become. It's such a shame when a player doesn't quite live up to their potential. But we've made it to the first of the month here, so we are going to have our first scouting updates from our 3 youth scouts. Yeah, it is very difficult to find someone in the first month that is good enough to go straight into the academy. So normally I will just continue scouting on the people that we find, but so far, yeah, nothing from England from that first update. Hopefully some better luck from Scotland with the 5-star scout, though it doesn't really seem like it. Douglas could be okay, but he's got quite a long way to go, young Scottish keeper. We'll keep scouting him. As for the rest of these guys, we're gonna turn them all down. Just the one player that we're scouting so far, Douglas. Hoping for some better luck from Colombia. Pedro Vargas, not good enough. No. Ruben could be okay. We'll continue the scouting on him. But as for the rest of them, yeah, no, nothing so far. It's a shame. I was hoping for someone decent in the first month. Ruben could be okay. And potentially with a position change, we could get the overall up. But yeah, I want to see that potential narrowed down first before I give him a scholarship. So no one making it from the first month's worth of scouting. And we've also had a bid from Wolves for Michael Elise. Absolutely no chance, Gary O'Neill. He's not going anywhere. Another bid for Reed Vowd, this time from Brighton, our M23 rivals. But again, gonna keep him here. Big bid for Doucouré from Sevilla, but again, for this first season, want to keep the crux of the team together. So I think for the time being, I'm just going to sim through towards that first game, and yeah, we might just kick off the first couple of games of the Premier League campaign as Bournemouth want Chris Richards, but I'm quite a big fan of this young lad, so he is going nowhere. But we're about a day before the Premier League season opener. Loan bid for Mateus França here. Once again, Fulham looking to take him on loan and join up with a few of the Brazilians that they've got over in West London. As we see Manchester City winning the UEFA Super Cup, beating Sevilla by 4-2. I think we're just going to jump into our first game of the season here. It's Sheffield United away at Bramall Lane, and this is a bit of a throwback. Our very first game of FC24 was Sheffield United against Crystal Palace. It was our very first save of FC24, where of course we started off with the Blades. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that. Oh, we've had a match rescheduled email. Is that the cup? Is that the Carabao Cup? It is the Carabao Cup. We've been drawn against Stevenage, so an EFL side in the second round of the Cup. That's quite handy, that, and that will come after the Arsenal game. So yeah, it's Sheffield United away at Bramall Lane. Again, flashbacks to our very first game of career mode on FC24, where the shoe was on the other foot as we took over as boss at Bramall Lane. Looking to start the campaign off with 3 points here. Come on, you Eagles. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. The start of a new Premier League campaign is always good fun, and to be here at Bramall Lane, I mean, this is like a weird sort of throwback to that first career mode that we had with Sheffield United. And of course, we kicked off in this fixture, but on the other side of it, and it was a bit of a goal glut. I think, if my memory serves me right, the full-time score was 4-2 to the Blades. There was loads of goals. We scored a free kick goal with Ollie Norwood. Oh, that's a strong tackle. Thankfully, Wharton jumps back up. So, yeah, hoping for more goals today, but really looking forward to this. You may have also seen pre-game as well, Mark Gurhey wearing the armband for us. Now, Joel Ward is official club captain, But as we know, he doesn't really start too many games nowadays for Crystal Palace. Either in real life or in this save, he won't be either. So, yeah, I've gone with Marc Guéhi. Sometimes it's Joachim Andersen as Eze looks to bend one. Sometimes it's Andersen. Guéhi's worn it quite a lot, but was injured last year, remember? So, oh, go on. Jean-Philippe Mateta. First goal of the Crystal Palace career mode. And it's Thierry Henry reincarnate. Jean-Philippe Mateta. The tucked-in shirt Mateta. Fotheringham, questionable goalkeeper. And if you watch that save, yeah, you'll know we did not get on with Wes Fotheringham. That's really poor keeping. But yeah, Marc Guéhi wearing the armband, but it's Jean-Philippe Mateta who gets the first goal of the new season. Free kick here for the Blades. Gus Harmer to swing it in. We are quite a tall side. Henderson's come, not got there, and the Blades are level. Well, that's poor from Dean Henderson. I didn't ask him to come for it. He's got absolutely nowhere near getting his gloves on that. Bit of a scramble in the box. And I think it's Anis Slimani who slams home the equalising goal. Are we in for another goal gluts here at Bramall Lane on match day 1 of the Premier League? And the Blades coming forward now. Brewster through the heart of our defence. Anderson couldn't go with him. And Ryan Brewster gives Sheffield United the lead. The man who always scored at the Etihad for us during our time with the Blades. Well, he's come back to haunt me and he scored against me. From a goal up, we now find ourselves 2-1 behind. This is poor from us. Wharton into Doucouré. Space out wide for Michael Elise. And Anel comes across. Doucouré into the penalty area. Flashes it wide. Not really his game, Doucouré. More of a holding midfielder, breaking stuff up. But that's a big chance for the Malian to get us back on level terms. Anderson still forward. Nicks it back again now. Eze into the middle for Mateta. Jean-Philippe Mateta with his second of the game. He was in fine form for Palace at the back end of last season. And he started off the season like that for us here. Mateta just guides it in. Fantastic header. And we're back level at 2 apiece. 10 to play here. What an introduction to the save, by the way. Fantastic first game. And I'm going for this here. I'm going for the dubbers. Mateta and Edouard! Off the bench. Pokes it in for Crystal Palace. Odds on Edouard. Little bit lucky, but we went attacking, went for the win. Mateta comes inside. His shot is blocked. And Edouard, in the right place, just pokes it in past the dive of the defender. Another goal gluts at Bramall Lane on match day 1 of the Premier League season. It's deja vu. Egan dispossessed by Eze. And Mateta for the hat-trick. It's Elise and it's 4. And we're going to have a replica scoreline of that we had in episode 1 of our FC 24 career mode with the Blades. On that day, we ran out 4-2 victors. The same's going to happen here, but just for the other teams. Mateta going for the hat-trick, unselfish. Offloads to Michael Elise. And Crystal Palace will claim all 3 points on match day 1. Wow, what a fantastic introduction to the save and our new side here. I am really looking forward to this first season with Crystal Palace. I feel like I'm going to be really upset when the team gets gutted next year when we get big bids for our star players. But that is the whole point of this save. We're keeping things realistic. And Mateta, off to the perfect start, guides us to victory on match day 1. Wow, big bid here for Marc Guéhi. And it's Chelsea. And I wouldn't say that Chelsea coming in for Guéhi is unrealistic. I think there's every chance of it, but as I say, for this first season, I want to keep him here. Chelsea, if you come back in next summer, I will not stand in Mark's way. For the time being, we'll jump into our second game of the episode and we'll close with this as well. Arsenal at home at Selhurst Park. Both teams got off to winning starts in the Premier League. I'm not expecting much out of games like this in the first season, so I'll take a point here for sure. Come on, you Eagles. So first game here at Selhurst Park, a fantastic old stadium. And I've actually been quite a few times to Selhurst. So yeah, it's a stadium that I know quite well, and it's very old. It's just falling apart in places, but an iconic ground. And as I said beforehand, oh, poor tackle that by Jesus. Against the top 6 in this first season, a point is or has to be considered a good result. We're not at the level of these boys just yet. So yeah, against any of the top 6, home or away, I will take a point. Great hold-up play by Jean-Philippe Mateta. Gets it back. And Doucouré finds Wharton. And look at the space for Eze. Brilliant ball. Eze! Quick counter-attack from Crystal Palace. And just before the break, the English lads combine. Wharton to Eze. And Crystal Palace have the lead against Arsenal. Fantastic move. A beautiful ball by Wharton. And Eze finishes it past the oncoming David Raya. And Saka whips the ball in and Anderson is there. Now the break could be on. Olise, look at the space for Eberechi Eze. And Eze comes infield, shoots and nearly catches out David Raya. We look such a threat on the break here. Doucouré, fantastic defensive work that, and Olise steps away from Kiwior. And as Munoz storming forward, and if he can lift that into Mateta, went for it on the volley. And he is playing with some confidence at the moment, the Frenchman. Rice gets it back. Good ball into Martin Ødegaard as we look to hold on. Fantastic by Joachim Andersen. And now Hughes can bring it away. Look at the space for Eberechi down the left-hand side. Comes infield Gabriel. And Hughes is there. And looks to return it to Eze. And Raya makes the stop. Ødegaard. And Declan Rice again. Now Jesus Martinelli. Big save, Dean Henderson. Corners deep. Headed on. Oh no. Martinelli. At the death. Gets his head on it. And Arsenal will snatch a point. Ødegaard whips the ball in. Martinelli gets a run on his man. Dean Henderson at full stretch can't get there. And it looks as if Crystal Palace are going to throw away all 3 points late on here. And yeah, it's all over. A decent point. Well, a very good point against Arsenal, who I'm sure will be competing for the league title this year. But to lose it so late is absolutely gutting. Martinelli's last-minute equaliser means the points are shared. But still, 4 points from 6 is a fantastic start to life at Selhurst Park. And it ends here, Crystal Palace 1, Arsenal 1. And guys, that will do it for the first episode of our summer career mode here with Crystal Palace. We'll return in the next episode to play out the final 2 weeks of the summer transfer window, where I will look to make one more signing. It's been a fantastic start to the Premier League campaign, where we'll have more big games as we'll enter part 1 of Sloggy season. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed, and I'll catch you for the next episode of our summer career mode very soon. Peace.